Yes, madam. You can start, madam.
Good morning, students. This is your Afreen ma'am, taking Unit 1, Diversity in the Living World, Chapter number 4, Plant Kingdom. Today we are going to be familiar with a new Bryophyta kingdom, Plantae kingdom, that is Bryophyta. And in this you are going to learn how these bryophytes, they are performing photosynthesis and what sort of life cycle they have. You are going to become familiar with this. Yesterday we have finished algae, which are thallophytes, which have only mass of cells, and this mass of cells is called thallus. And I have given the homework also, and many of them forwarded me their work. And very curiously, you are completing your works, and I'm very happy. I hope all other JLs also from other, particularly the boys colleges JL, will be forwarding their work to me. So let us appreciate those who are working and finishing their work in time. Durga from Hasanpati, TSRJC, and I appreciate P. Prasuna also from Vangara, TSRJC. Very good children, keep it up. So Bryophyta. Bryophyta is nothing but it is also well known as amphibians of plant kingdom. Amphibians means they require water as well as land. So they are terrestrial plants only, but they require water for sexual reproduction. So the general features of Bryophyta: amphibians of plant kingdom, archegoniate, embryophytic, and atracheophytic cryptogams. Cryptogams are non-flowering plants, and these are going to have embryonic stages, well-defined development will be seen, and atracheophytic means vascular bundles are absent, and vascular bundles will begin in the pteridophytes. Primitive land plants, they are the primitive land plants. They occur in damp, humid, and shaded localities. So on wooden moss, wooden logs also they will be growing. Wherever shady area, water, moisture is there, they'll just grow. Important role in plant cessation and on bare rocks or soil. So plant cessation is nothing but how these plants are going to begin their life cycle on a barren land or unused land. There they are going to start the succession, and here they are going to be helpful in this plant succession and on bare rocks or soil. Soil if it is barren, or else the rocks also if it get accumulated with some moisture, they are going to grow on that. Next, you can see here on a bare rock how the plant succession has taken place, and these bryophytes, they are very important in our environment, because when they are utilizing the nutrient from the rock, the weathering of rock also take place along with the lichens, fungus. These are also helpful in weathering of these rocks. More differentiated than algae. These are much more differentiated than algae, and thallus like prostrate or erect and attached to the substratum by unicellular or multicellular rhizoids. These are not tall trees or huge big trees. They are just small, and they'll be getting attached to the substratum, and either some of them will be unicellular or multicellular rhizoids will be present. Lack true roots. Rhizoids are nothing but false roots. They are for fixing the plant body to the substrate, and here there is no true root system here. It is only for supporting purpose, getting fixed to the soil or rock. And stems and leaves will be seen clearly. Body comprises of parenchymatous tissue. The entire body is having living tissue. Parenchymatous tissue is living tissue, and collenchyma, sclerenchyma, they are the dead tissue, and they will give more mechanical strength and support to the plant body. Here only we can see parenchymatous tissue, and main plant body is haploid. Haploid means only one set of chromosomes will be seen. It produces gametes, hence it is called gametophyte. So the gametes are nothing but haploid only. Gametes are nothing but haploid only, but it is formed from a diploid cell, zygote. And here these gametophytes are nothing but the gametes are going to germinate and become the gametophyte. You can see Funaria here. The plant body of Funaria can be clearly seen here. And the lower part of this plant body is the gametophyte, and the upper part you can see this one long slender structure. This is called sporophyte. Food, seta, and capsule are the parts of this Funaria. So the plant body is a gametophyte. Sex organs are multicellular, jacketed, and stacked. As you all know that these higher level plants will be having multicellular jacketed sex organs, and there will be a stack also here. Male sex organ is antheridium because anthers are going to produce the male gametes, and the structure is called antheridium. Remember this term here. Here the male sex organ is called antheridium. They produce biflagellate antherzoids. The pollen grains are nothing but here it is called as antherzoids, and these are biflagellate, means flagella will be present. And female sex organ is called archegonia. Archegonia, female sex organ, is flask shaped and produces a single egg. A single egg will be produced, and here many antherzoids will be produced by the antheridium, which are going to reach the archegonium. And antherzoids released in water come in contact with archegonium. Antherzoids fuses with egg and zygote is formed. This is called zooidogamous oogamy. So it is called zooidogamous oogamy, where these antherzoids are going to reach the single egg which is present in the archegonia. So remember the terms. The new terms which are introduced for you is antheridium, the male sex organ, and archegonium, the female sex organ. The male gametes are called as antherzoids, and the female gamete is nothing but the single egg for each archegonia. And here the fusion will be taking place, and when the fusion of this egg with egg and antherzoid will take place, it is going to make the zygote, and the zygote which is formed is called as zooidogamous oogamy. This process is called zooidogamous oogamy. Zygote do not undergo reduction division immediately. Here the thing you have to notice, the zygote after formation generally it will be undertaking reduction division, meiosis, but here it is not taking place. It is going to form a structure. That structure is called sporophyte. They produce a multicellular body called sporophyte. So you have to remember that a gametophyte body of a bryophyte will be having male sex organ and female sex organ, producing male gamete, female gamete respectively, and these male gamete and female gametes are fusing, forming the zygote. This zygote structure is going to develop into a multicellular body called sporophyte. After the formation of the sporophyte only, in that the meiosis will be taking place in the spore mother cells which are present in the sporophyte. Sporophyte is not free living but attached to the gametophyte. As I just said that the zygote is going to form and develop into sporophyte. Where this thing is happening? This thing is happening on the gametophyte itself. On the gametophyte itself, the fertilization process will be completed and the zygote is going to form. Then after the zygote is forming, it is going to get developed into a multicellular structure called sporophyte. And sporophyte has foot, seta, and capsule. So it will be having the bottom base is called foot, and the long slender filament like structure called seta, and a capsule like structure at the top. In this capsule only the spore mother cells are going to undertake meiotic division and the spores are released. Okay, so here in capsule spore mother undergoes meiotic division to produce haploid spores. So here haploid spores are going to form. So these bryophytes are haploid organisms. These are haploid organisms. Only they can be seen as diploid in condition when the antherzoids and egg will fuse, the zygote will form. At that time, the diploid condition can be seen. These spores germinate to produce a gametophyte again. So all bryophytes are homosporous. Homo means same. Similar spores will be given. They show heteromorphic alternation of generation. Heteromorphic means changing, alternation of generation. The first generation, they are gametophyte, And in the second, this gametophyte is only giving rise to a sporophyte. Okay, and these spores are going to release the haploid spores. These spores on germination will become again a gametophyte. So here gametophyte is followed by sporophyte. So this is nothing but alternation of generation, that is hetero. Hetero means different, heteromorphic, different alternation of generation. Life cycle is haplodiploidic. Haplodiploidic means it is a haploid organism. Only we can see the diploid condition when the fusion of antherzoid with the egg is taking place. So a beautiful structure. You can see here the food seta and capsule. This is the sporophyte. Okay, this long, the base is called, this base is called food, and the long slender filamentous body is called seta. And you can see here green color structure. This is a capsule in which the spores are going to form by meiotic division. Economic importance of bryophytes. Some mosses provide food for herbaceous mammals. Herbaceous mammals are going to eat these bryophytes, and birds and other animals also depend on this. Species of sphagnum. Sphagnum is a moss plant, provide peat used as fuel, and because of its capacity to hold water as packing material for transshipment of living material, it will be utilized. Mosses along with lichens are the first organisms to colonize rocks. Just now I said on bare rocks and on barren lands, soil, these mosses are going to spread or multiply more in number, and they are going to be the successors. Plant succession is depending on these lichens as well as the moss plant. Lichens are nothing but the algae and fungi, and mosses are these amphibians of the plant kingdom. They play a significant role in succession, and they form dense moss on the soil. Thus, they reduce the impact of falling rain and prevent soil erosion. So here, maybe they are not having true root system, but they are present on the ground and they are covering the ground and not exposing the ground directly to the rainwater. Because as you know, rainwater, when it is coming, it is going to wash off the fertility of the soil, or the humus, the topmost layer of the soil will be getting washed off or peeled off. That is called soil erosion. This soil erosion can be prevented because of the density. That means because the dense moss of the soil on the soil will be present because of this bryophyte. And the classes of bryophytes. Now coming to the important features of these bryophytes. These are divided into three classes: Hepaticopsida, liverworts; Anthoceratopsida, hornworts; Bryopsida, mosses. These are the three classes which we are going to learn in detail now. Liverworts grow usually in moist, shady habitats. As you know, all the bryophytes will be growing in a moist area only, shady habitats only. Plant body is thalloid. Example, Mercantia. Okay, thallus like, because the true roots are not present, so it will be looking like a thalloid only, like Mercantia. Thallus is prostrate, dorsiventral, and closely appressed to the substratum. So just above the soil only it is present, the plant body. Leafy members have tiny leaf-like appendages in two rows on the stem-like structure. So some of them will be showing some leaf-like structure also. You can see here, Mercantia. You can see here this Mercantia. This is a plant body, which is a gametophyte. Okay, and on this gametophyte only the male sex organ and the female sex organ is going to develop. And you can see here Archegonium and Antheridium. The Antheridium and Archegonium may be on the same plant itself or different plant. So they'll be having a long body which is going to have the jacketed sex organ, that is the Antheridium and Archegonium. Both will be looking similar here. Vegetative propagation by fragmentation or by formation of specialized structures called gemme. This gemme is nothing but here small cup-like structure you can see on the thallus, thalloid body. You can see this Gemma cups are going to develop, and gemma will be released, and they are going to get separated and leave as individual, just like fragmentation only. This is also similar structure forming in the cups, gemma cups, and these are called gemmae. Gemmae are green multicellular asexual buds which develop in small receptacles called gemma cups located on the thalli. The gemma become detached and develops as a new individual. This is the mode of reproduction which is vegetative. That means taking place with the plant body part. During sexual reproduction, male and female sex organs are produced on the same or different thalli. Just now I have shown antheridium and archegonium. These are the male and female sex organs which are going to get produced on same or different thalli. Sporophyte is differentiated into food, seta, and capsule. After meiosis, spores are produced in the capsule. And you know about the sporophyte. After the fertilization is taking place, the zygote is going to develop into a complete sporophyte which is not separated from the gametophyte. It is getting attached to the gametophyte itself and producing a structure called food, seta, and capsule. In this capsule only, the spore mother cells are going to give the haploid spores. Okay, and that is taking place by meiosis. After meiosis, spores are produced in the capsule. Some members like Mercantia also produce elaters in the capsule which help in spore dispersal. So a structure called elater will be produced in the capsule itself for easy dispersal of the spore. The spores germinated and germinated to form free living gametophytes. Liverworts. Next one is this one, images of liverworts. You can see Mercantia. Here you can see the female thallus. This is female thallus by seeing this archegonium, or we can also say here archegoniophore. This archegonium is on the thallus, and here also antheridium. This antheridium is the male sex organ, and archegonium is the female sex organ. And you can also notice small structures, root-like false roots, rhizoids are seen, which is going to help in fixing to the soil or rock to rock wherever they are germinating. And here this archegonium is going to be the female sex organ bearing a single egg cell, and antheridium is going to produce the antherzoids which are going to get released and reach the archegonia and germinate in the archegonia. That means not germinate, fuse with the egg cell, and here the sporophyte structure is going to form by the fertilization. So this plant body is gametophyte, and here after fertilization at this point in the archegonia, it is going to develop a zygote. Zygote is going to develop into a sporophyte. Sporophyte bearing the food, seta, and capsule. Hornworts. Hornworts, the plant body is thalloid consisting of rhizoids. They possess elongated horn-like sporophytes. The sporophytes are like horn-like. Sporophytes consist of food, intercalary meristematic zone, and capsule. Instead of a long seta, they are having here intercalary meristematic zone, and the capsule is as it is, and that's why the shape of these moss plants sporophyte is horn like. On this only the name is given as hornworts, and the capsule produces spores and pseudoelaters. Pseudoelaters means false elater. Elater like structure will be seen in the liverworts. So here the capsule is also producing spores, and pseudoelaters are also seen here. Images of hornwort you can see here. Anthoceras is the example. You can see the life cycle also here, how these anthoceras from a single spore, haploid spore, it is germinating and undertaking many divisions, and many new cells are going to form and give the gametophyte. This gametophyte is also haploid only, and it is also going to have the male reproductive organ and the female reproductive organ. On same thallus or different thallus it will be, and you can see here the male reproductive structure is the antheridium giving antherzoids, And the female reproductive structure is the archegonium, giving single egg nucleus. Excuse me. So here, after this, what is happening? These male gametes are released, and when these are released, they are going to reach the archegonium and fuse there. After fusion, it is going to develop into a sporophyte. And this sporophyte, after complete development, it is going to produce the spores in the sporangium. This is in 2n condition, and the spores are released here, which are going to germinate. So this is the life cycle. This is alternation of generation, and bryophyte is a gametophyte producing a sporophyte, and beginning the life cycle again from a haploid spore. That's why haplodiplontic life cycle. Next, mosses, the third type. Predominant stage is gametophyte. Here also predominant stage is gametophyte only, which consists of two stages. Here some change is there, which consists of two stages. The first stage is called juvenile stage. The early stage is called juvenile stage, is the protonema, which develops directly from the spore. Okay, it will develop as a protonema, mass of cells. And the second stage is the adult leafy stage called gametophore. Gametophore, that means gametophyte. And it is going to develop the gametes. And this gametophore is nothing but it is developing from the same protonema only. And they consist of upright, slender, axis bearing spirally arranged leaves. They are attached to the soil through multicellular and branched rhizoids. This stage bear the sex organ. So here in mosses only, you have to remember the protonema can be seen. Protonema is nothing but a juvenile stage. That means from the spores, germination will take place, and a juvenile stage of mass of cells is going to form, that is called protonema. And after this, it is going to develop into adult called gametophore, a leafy stage where it is going to have some leaf-like structures, okay, bearing slender axis bearing spirally arranged leaves. So this is the important point for mosses, and they are attached to the soil through multicellular and branched rhizoids. Rhizoids are also multicellular and much more branched, and here they are going to bear the antheridium or archegonium. Antheridium, the male sex organ; archegonium, the female sex organ. So now the reproduction has to begin in mosses after getting the that. Before that, vegetative propagation is by fragmentation and gamma formation and budding in the secondary protonema. So here it is through vegetative propagation, and the sexual reproduction. Sex organs are produced at the apex of leafy shoot, top of the leafy shoots, intermixed with multicellular uniseriate filamentous sterile hairs called paraphyses. Paraphyses can also be seen here. After fertilization, the zygote develops into a sporophyte. The sporophyte in mosses is more elaborate than liverworts. The mosses have an elaborate mechanism of spore dispersal through peristomial teeth. So here, no elaters, nothing. Here it is having peristomial teeth seen in the mosses. Examples are Funaria, cod moss, Polytrichum, haircap moss, and Sphagnum, the peat moss. So you can see the picture here of mosses. Sphagnum, you can see beautiful appearance when they are blooming. And here images of moss plant. This is Funaria, and you can see leaf-like structures also there, and multicellular rhizoids are also there, branched to the main axis. This is a gametophyte. This is a gametophyte, and this gametophyte will be having the male and female reproductive organ, and the male reproductive organ is called antheridium. It is going to produce antherzoids, biflagellate antherzoids, and they are the male gametes. And archegonium is going to have single egg nucleus, and the antherzoids are going to reach the nucleus and going to fuse and develop into, and fertilization takes place and zygote forms, and zygote develops into this sporophyte. And this sporophyte is to N condition, and gametophyte is N condition. Sporophyte will be having the capsule. Inside the capsule, meiosis will take place and the haploid spores are released. Again, the haploid spores will be undertaking germination, that is the gametophytic stage. then following sporophyte. So here, this is nothing but alternation of generations in moss plant. It is haplodiplontic, and moss plant is a gametophyte. Remember this thing. So here you can have a clear vision of this emerging gametophytes. Antheridium, and here you can see rhizome is there, funaria, and here ripe capsule is there. This is the stalk or seta, developing capsule. This is a sporophyte. You can see the sporophyte here, how it will be. The developing sporophyte here, it is going to have the zygote when the fusion will take place, when the male gametophyte is producing the male gametes, antheridium, are producing the antherzoids. That means the sperms are released. So this is the male structure. Male organs are present here. Antheridium producing the sperms are the antherzoids. And in the female structure, this is the female structure, archegonia, flask shaped, only single nucleus is there in each archegonia. And these antherzoids are going to enter here in this flask like structure, and fertilization is going to take place. When the fertilization is taking place, zygote formation is taking place. This zygote is going to develop into a sporophyte. You can see how the sporophyte is developing in this structure called archegonium. This is archegonium. In this egg nucleus was there, and antherzoid reached here, and fertilization took place, and zygote formed, developing into a sporophyte. This sporophyte, which is developing, when it is going to develop and meiosis is going to take place, that means it has become a ripened capsule. Now the ripened capsule is going to burst, releasing the spores. This is the sporangium. Sporangium capsule containing spores, and it is going to burst. It is under taking meiosis and producing the spores. When it will burst out, the spores are dispersed or released in the surroundings, and these spores, when they will find suitable substratum, whether it may be a barren soil or rock, they are going to get the nutrients and water requirement from their surroundings, and they will germinate, and they are going to continue at the protonema stage, which is a juvenile stage. The protonema is going to become again the gametophore. The gametophore is nothing but it is going to be a male gametophyte and the female gametophyte. As you can see here, this is a male gametophyte, and this is a female gametophyte. The female gametophyte again, the same thing. Ova will be formed, and male gametophyte, it is going to produce the sperms. So this is the life cycle of a bryophyte. And here example is moss plant. Here funaria is the species given in this diagram. Coming to the assignment number 6. Yesterday I have given assignment number 5. Today it's assignment number 6. What are the first organisms to colonize rocks? Give the generic name of the moss which provides peat. Differentiate between liverworts and mosses. It is a short answer question. Very few questions are there for IP point of view. And once again, we'll have a revision of this topic. The general features of bryophyta. More differentiated than alga, thallus-like prostrate or erect and attached to the substratum by unicellular or multicellular rhizoids. Remember this, unicellular or multicellular rhizoids. That means true roots are lacking here, and stems and leaves are also lacking. Body comprises of parenchymatous tissue. No complex tissue and no mechanical tissue like collenchyma and sclerenchyma. It is having only parenchymatous tissue. And main plant body is haploid. The plant body is a gametophyte. It is haploid. It produces gametes. Hence, it is called gametophyte. And sex organs are multicellular jacketed, and male sex organ is the antheridium, producing the biflagellate antherozoids. These are motile because flagella is present. Female sex organ, it is archegonium and it is flask shaped. The flask shape is going to help in the entry of antherozoids for fusion with the single egg. And these antherozoids are released in water, come in contact with archegonium, and this process where the zygote formation is taking place, this is called zooidogamous oogamy. And immediately the zygote is not going to undertake meiotic division. It is going to develop into a structure called sporophyte. After developing this sporophyte only, it is going to undertake meiotic divisions. And you must remember one point here, the sporophyte is not free living. The sporophyte is still attached to the gametophyte structure only. And the sporophyte has foot, seta, and capsule. And it is going to produce haploid spores. These spores germinate to produce the gametophyte again. So this is about the life cycle of this bryophyta, and it is called haplodiplontic life cycle. As you can see, the beautiful structure of this sporophyte, the foot, seta, and the capsule. The capsule will be having the spores in it. It is also called as the sporangium because here the meiotic division and spores formation will be taking place. Economic importance is also very important. They are going to provide food for herbaceous mammals, birds, and other animals. And sphagnum is used as a peat. A moss provide peat used as fuel, and because of its water holding capacity, it is also used in the transport. And mosses, along with lichens, are the first organism to colonize rocks. They play a significant role in succession, and they form dense moss on the soil, helping in protecting the soil from soil erosion. Three distinct classes can be seen: Hepaticopsida or liverworts, Ceratopsida, hornworts, and Bryopsida, the mosses. These are the three classes of bryophytes. Liverworts, example here, Mercantia is given, and you can see the beautiful structure of this Mercantia. It is comprising of antheridium and archegonium here. Antheridium is the male sex organ. Archegonium means the female sex organ. So you can see this structure is particularly the male antheridium structure. And vegetative propagation is by fragmentation and gamma cups. And next, we also came to know how these liverworts are having the sexual reproduction. They'll be having the sexual reproduction because of a specialized structure called male sex organ. The male sex organ, the antheridiophore, and the female sex organ is the archegoniophore. You can see the distinct structures here, antheridiophore and archegoniophore, and how these are present on two different thallus. Sometimes they may occur on the same thallus also. This thing you have to remember. And hornworts, these are also having thylaid consisting of rhizoids, and here they are having foot, intercalary, meristematic tissue, and the capsule. So instead of seta, they are having intercalary meristematic tissue, and the plant body is thylaid consisting of rhizoid. They possess elongated horn-like sporophyte, and the capsule produces spores and pseudoelaters. Pseudoelaters. Here you can see the beautiful anthoceros picture. The sporophyte structure is clearly visible here, and down at the bottom, this is the gametophyte structure. In this gametophytic structure only, the sporophyte is going to develop. That means the sporophyte is not a free living. It is depending on the gametophyte for its nourishment. And the funaria life cycle also. Sorry, Mercantia, this one, not funaria. Here, this Mercantia, you can see the spore is germinating and forming the gametophytic structure. The gametophytic structure may have the antheridium and archegonium. Antheridium is a male reproductive structure, and archegonium is the female reproductive structure. You can see here how the antherzoids are formed here in this inside, and you can see only a single egg is present in the archegonia, which is a female gamete. Both of them are going to combine or fuse. After fusion, the zygote is going to form, and this zygote is going to develop as a sporophyte, which is 2n condition. And here in the sporophyte, you are having a structure foot, seta, and capsule. In the capsule structure only, the spores are going to form and release. So this is a mode of reproduction or life cycle, which is having alternation of generation gametophyte to sporophyte. Gametophyte is haploid and sporophyte is diploid. That's why haplodiplontic life cycle. Next, mosses will be having some change here. They are having the juvenile stage called protonema. When the spore is going to germinate, it is going to germinate and become the protonema, which further develops into a gametophore. This gametophore will be having leafy stage. Leafy stage means it will be having the spirally arranged leaves clearly visible and a lateral adventitious bud. So here this protonema is going to become gametophore, and gametes are going to form. Gametes on fusion is going to become sporophyte. Sporophyte will release the spores which are haploid. So after fertilization, the zygote develops into a sporophyte and they are going to release the spores. Example are Funaria, cod moss, polytrichum, haircap moss, and sphagnum. And these are the pictures of sphagnum. And this is Funaria. You can see clearly the gametophyte and sporophyte. The sporophyte is completely dependent on gametophyte for its nourishment. And this is a clear life cycle of this Funaria, where you can see the protonema stage. The rhizoids are also formed here. And this one, gametophore, is going to develop the mature male gametophyte and the female gametophyte. The male gametophyte is going to give the male gametes, and the female gametophyte is going to give the female egg nucleus. Both after fertilization forms the zygote. This zygote develops into a sporophyte, and this is the structure of the sporophyte, and having the sporangium bearing the spores. These spores are formed only after meiotic division. So complete the assignment and forward it to your teachers. Thank you. So class is over.